What's up, guys? It is Hot Wheels Tournaments here today with another Matchbox moving parts mix unboxing here with the last mix of 2023, Mix 8. I'm finally back in my normal setup, so I have normal lighting, normal backgrounds, so a little bit of a more professional looking review today. Anyways, this was a loaded last mix. There were 8 different cars. There are 8 total cars in the case, so every single car was different. We had 5 new models. For whatever reason, Matchbox is a little bit slow getting their new models rolled out at the start of the year. They probably run into some issues with licensing. So the back end of the year for Matchbox, you see all their lines have their new models come in, and then even a couple of them don't show up over the course of the year and get moved over to the next year. I believe, with the exception of one, almost every new model this year in moving parts made its appearance, with the exception of the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ, which will appear in 2024. Anyways, that's enough of an intro. Let's talk about the 8 models here in mix number 8. That's appropriate. First off, we get the Seagrave fire truck making its return. Oh, look at that. This one's written in Spanish. It has a translation. I assume that's Spanish. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know why that is. Do the other cars have that? No. I wonder... That's so weird that that's translated. I wonder what the reason behind that is. I have no idea. This is a licensed casting. Anyways, it's appearing in the 70th anniversary deco. We saw this debut last year. Is actually, I think, one of the sneaky best models of moving parts last year. It was absolutely fantastic. And now we get the second version in this fantasy livery, but still, it's been a very fun livery to collect. The silver, orange, and black looks really good. Obviously, the moving part on this one is that ladder. You can even... Can you extend it out? I thought you could. Maybe you can't. Maybe... Can you? I thought you could extend this ladder out. Maybe this one's just stuck. I'm not trying to break it, though. As I say that, I break my turntable. Anyways, really nice looking model all around. Love this. Love that we get the chrome base on this version. Love that you have the glass window piece, so you get interior. Chrome comes around on the back. I mean, this is just so simple, so well done. The ladder looks great. You get MBX ladder up top there. This is well executed. This is one of 4 70th anniversary cars that has appeared in moving parts. We saw before this the Morris Minor, as well as the Ford Mustang convertible. The other one is this one. This is the 1964 Chevy C10 pickup. This one has been around a little longer. It's one of the original moving parts castings. I don't know. It fell on the floor. I don't know how long this model has, like how many releases this has. I just know it's been there forever. Part of it being one of those OG moving parts models. You can tell that the seam on it just isn't as good as like they have become. You know, they struggled at least a little bit in the beginning, making the moving part and the seam, you know, blend in. They struggle with that here, you know, but outside of that, love the silver, gold rims. I still think this is a great casting. You get a fully detailed hood. A lot of the hoods don't open up very far nowadays. I think that's probably one of the things with making the seam more invisible. This one opens up very well. You can see that incredibly detailed engine. There's a look at the bed. Taillights, headlights, side deco. Gotta love that $250 price point when you can get 4 tampo slides, a moving part, and a VUM chrome base. I mean, that is what we want to see out of our die-cast models at this price point, and Matchbox absolutely delivers. That one's very well done as well. Here's a hard hitter. This was a very popular model when it released in 2022 last year. It was in silver with gold spokes then. Now we see it go to blue with silver rims. This is the 1996 Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution Gen 4. Or just 4, I guess, would be the more correct term for it, but 4th generation, obviously. This one comes in blue. This was one of my favorite models last year. I thought they did an incredibly good job. I'll be real, I don't know if they'll ever top that silver version. That silver version with like the gold 10-spoke wheels was perfect. I did not need another version after that, but I'm happy that we're getting more because, as I said, it's fantastically executed. You can see here as it goes around, very plain stock deco. Get headlights, a grille, tail lights. I love that this rear wing is like plastic. I think it allows it. A lot of times when you get metal rear wings, they look super bulky and awkward. When you can do it in plastic, they're a little more refined and they don't get that look. This looks appropriate. This also doesn't have the problem. Sometimes when you combine plastic and metal, the plastic does not match the metal color very well. Not an issue here at all. The wing totally blends in with the body of the casting. But yeah, all in all, just well executed. A good color. Again, I don't know if that silver version will be topped. It is perfect. But, I mean, this is absolutely a worthy entry. Very well executed. I have a feeling this one is, well, I don't have a feeling. I know it's been popular because it's usually the first to go when you see this mix on the pegs. Now, those are the 3 returning models. We have 5 new models to varying degrees of how interesting they are. Here's one. The Nissan Ariya, not, great intro for it. Here's one, but not a model I know a lot about. I believe this is, it's obviously got a motor. I don't know if it's electric. I didn't do any research on this car before. I have to assume it's something that's made strictly overseas, but let's go ahead and take a look. This is just kind of like a random casting. Matchbox is good at this. The random like SUVs and cars, crossovers that they'll put in throughout the lineup. Obviously, Matchbox's thing is they make very realistic vehicles. They make road-going vehicles. And what's popular today in terms of like actual cars people buy? SUVs and crossovers. They are, they get the job done on a daily needs basis, as uninteresting and uninspired as they are. And it's cool to see Matchbox do them. Now, again, I don't know what the actual car looks like. I have to assume this is very accurate. I mean, already I'm noticing on the side, look at those lines. Look at how much it scoops and indents right after that front wheel. That looks really good. The base is really good, how it comes up and covers those wheels. A lot of SUVs and crossovers do that. Subaru is huge on that, but the way they use the plastic base to kind of get that multi-tone dual layer, the plastic piece looks really good. A lot of times when you see dark window pieces like this, they're too dark and you can't see the interior. There you can see the seats inside. You can see through the sunroof. You have a fully detailed engine. You have headlights. You have taillights. And yeah, take a look at the moving part here. We can take a look. How does it look when the hood goes down? That is about as, you can't even tell on the front end where that seals. You can't really tell that opens. Maybe a little bit on the front. There's a gap. Really, the only giveaway is the side, and that's not that bad. That's a very seamless front closing hood. I'm very happy with that. So, despite it being like kind of like just a random car to have in there, and maybe not something a lot of people will know about, I think people will discount this because it's not the most interesting vehicle, and that's fair. But in terms of execution, I think based off what I can tell, it's fantastic. Matchbox did a great job. To the next. Another one I think a lot of people are going to kind of pan, the 2020 Chevy Blazer EV. Main reasons being it's a modern Chevy Blazer. The modern Chevy Blazer, in a lot of people's eyes, and probably rightly so, is kind of an abomination of the Blazer name. The Blazer was such an interesting and cool car back when SUVs first became a thing, and it was this giant off-road vehicle, and it was dope. And now it's just this really generic, as my Nissan runs away, now it's just this really generic SUV that's gone fully electric, which, speaking truthfully, I don't think is the most, I think it's kind of an abomination of the Blazer EV. When I say most people, I agree with that. I think the Blazer EV or the Blazer is an abomination of the old Blazer. Enough on that, though. Talking about the actual car, first thing I noticed is it's really long. It just has huge, like so much length, it feels like. Seems very accurate. You see all the lines and everything. They look really, really good. Again, using the base to get that multi-layer that you see on a lot of SUVs that they have around the wheels. Very, very nice front decal here. That blackout looks really good. Really nice job. You can see how seamlessly that hood doesn't pop up. I had a problem. I can't remember. What car was it? In the last mix, there was a car that kind of had a popped up hood that I really didn't like, and it just didn't look good. None of these cars have had that problem. This Blazer looks great. Can get it open here. Barely. Does that open? Sure. Technically, there's not really much to see there because there's not going to be an engine. It's an EV. So it's just kind of like empty under there. I think that there's a Chevy logo on something. I assume that's like the battery, if I had to guess. But yeah, looking at that, you get a nice sunroof, giant plastic piece on top there. Very common among flagship SUVs. I don't really think the Blazer is a flagship SUV. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, solid execution, front, rear deco. This looks really, really good. It feels a little bit low to me. I don't know if that's just because of the plastic piece. It just feels like the height cuts off maybe like just a smidge before it should, but that's a pretty minor complaint. I think this is very well done. I think it looks really, really good. And this is, again, great model from the Matchbox team. So far, very happy with those two new castings. Now, this one has been popular. The 2020 Ram Rebel. Matchbox does some fantastic trucks. Their pickups, man, the Ford F-150 Lightning last year was great. They have that Ford F-100 that's really, really good that they did for the Jurassic World series. They have the Chevy Silverado from, what must be almost 8-9 years ago at this point. That's amazing. And we had the Ram 1500 that was really good. It was in the National Parks deco, and it's probably one of my all-time favorite Matchboxes. Now we get the 2020 Ram Rebel. This one has been quick to go from when I've seen this mix. Outside the Mitsubishi and a car we're about to talk about later. This is one of the first off the pegs, and I believe, at least from the outside looking in, rightly so. Anyways, here it is, and yeah, this seems to be another very well executed casting truck, from Matchbox. Let's see if we can get this going back here. No? There we go. Just took a little encouragement. Looking at the hood, maybe the hood pops up just a little bit. Maybe just a little bit awkwardly there. From the side, it looks fine. But yeah, in the front, that does look a little bit weird the way that forms. You have a big gap. It just sits high. It looks like it's bloated or like swollen a little bit with that hood. But the grill itself and the tampos there look really good. Can't really notice it from the side. That angle, that looks great. The bed, everything back. So outside that front angle, everything looks really, really good. Like the wheel choice with the 6 spokes on this one. Go around, you get the taillights, the Ram logo. There you go. 4-door cab. You pop the... there you go. Pop it up. See inside the car right there. No decal on the engine here. A little bit disappointing. You'd ideally like to see that detailed. Especially, white paint, it might need something extra. It might be because, however, this hood piece is clearly decoed. That black is all decoed in. There's the tailgate again. Come around to the other side. Pretty well done. This is solid. It's not quite as good as I was hoped. It looks really good in the package, but that front nose does just sit a little awkwardly with the hood. It looks like the hood's not quite closing all the way. With how it's done, it pops up a little. Like I said, I noticed that as a problem on a casting in the last mix. I'm totally spacing on what casting it was, but kind of a little bit of a worrying trend I've seen. Obviously, not everything's going to be perfect. This one's fine. I don't think it's going to be the best of the Noodle model bunch, which is disappointing. I was really looking forward to another Matchbox truck, but I don't think with that weird opening hood, that's not necessarily the strongest effort. Now, speaking of flagship SUVs, we just talked about the Chevy Blazer EV. This is the real Chevy flagship SUV. This is the 2020 Chevy Tahoe. Just absolute mammoth, absolute behemoth. I am very excited to get this one open because I think it's going to be really cool. I'm a little bit nervous about the hood. That's the part with this casting that's been worrying me. I really don't want the hood to look bloated on it, but only time will tell as we get it out of the package here what it is going to look like. Bang. There it is. All right. First impressions. Well, the hood may look bloated, but that's not because it was open. Was it open? Maybe not. Anyways, let's talk about it. Rear looks good. Nice taillights. Maybe a little bit narrow in the back right there. Come around to the side. Side profile. Oh, that's not good. Is it closed? So, all right. So here's an issue right now. This is not hinging closed completely. This is how it sits. It sits, and it's hard to tell because it's black paint. But there's a gap right here. But if I press on it, it can close further and seal. And if you look, the gap looks weird, but you seal it, it looks fine. So I'm going to just give them the benefit of the doubt and say that's like a manufacturing error with this one. Because if you close it, oh, as I knock my camera over, and very clumsy this video, but if you close it, looks great. Looks great right there. But I'm having to like push it closed. It's not actually closing itself. Anyways, that's a little bit weird. I'll say it's a manufacturing error. I doubt, I mean, the fact I'm having to force it down, I've never seen that before. I assume the hinge on this one is just a little bit weird. Nice little sunroof in. Side view looks great. If you close it, it looks a lot better. You see, looks awkward. You can see that gap right in between, but then you force it closed. Looks completely fine. Looks really, really good. Coming around to the front, great front detail front end. Again, if that hood would close properly, it would be good. The seam's a little bit weird right here with the moving part hinge. Let's see if I close it. Does it look better? No, it's still there. So that's a little bit weird. But outside of that, I think this is really well executed. Solid casting. A little bit weird that the hinge is just not closing all the way. I don't know what's up with that. There's a little bit of a niche there that is noticeable. But outside of that, I think this is executed really well. The front end, and again, it may just be because this is like flipped up and making it look bigger than it is, feels like it's bulging a little bit for whatever reason. Like it feels a little big. So I don't know what's going on with that. But yeah, so pretty solid. It's kind of weird. I think the two new models I was least interested in are the two best. The EV Blazer is fantastic, and so is that Nissan. That's so funny. Anyways, this is the one I'm most interested in, the Bollinger B2. Well, for a couple reasons. A, the Bollinger is just like a it's just a crazy vehicle. Unfortunately, it's probably never going to be like a real production vehicle you can buy. They've built concepts, but based on everything that's been displayed, it's not going to be profitable. It's going to be a really cool concept vehicle. A couple versions got made, but it's just never going to become a big thing. It's supposed to be all electric, I believe, and you'll notice that. Anyways, this model, another reason it's interesting, sets a record for moving parts. If you'll notice, there are two on the front. You can fold that front end down, pop it open, and then you can fold this down. That's two. You might be seeing, we've seen two before. There are cars with opening doors that are two, and you would be correct. What you may not realize is this flips down as well. Wow. I mean, this is arguably the best new moving parts, new model of the year. I'm going to be doing a awards video, and there will be for 2024 or 2023 what I think the best models were over the course of the year for Hot Wheels and Matchbox. This one is almost assuredly going to be featured in it because it is just, I mean, it is so good. Now, this car is very boxy in real life. It's very simplistic lines, which makes it very easy to replicate, I would assume. But dude, it is big, it is long. The thing in real life, if you've ever seen videos or picture of it, is a behemoth. This thing is a behemoth. I mean, let's compare the other truck we get in the mix and just look at how the Bollinger just feels like it's dwarfing. I don't even know if it's actually that much bigger. It's certainly taller. It's a tad bit longer, but you can kind of see they properly get the scale of just how big this car is. It kind of dwarfs the Ram to a certain extent. I mean, this thing is just, this thing is awesome. I know I kind of was harsh on the Tahoe and the Ram, but dude, this thing, I mean, just look at all the details for where the bolts go into the real car. Front deco, rear deco, Matchbox logo on the side. Big sunroof to see into the interior there. I mean, this thing is freaking sick. That is so cool. So that's it. Those are the 8 cars. We had 5 new models. I think the Bollinger impresses. That thing is incredible. The EV was good. The Ariya was good. The Blazer EV and the Ariya EV, both surprisingly, despite being great cars, very well executed. The Ram has its problems with that opening hood. It just looks a little bloated on the front. The Tahoe just doesn't seem to close. I'm assuming it's a manufacturing issue, and then my hinge just doesn't work very well. Something's caught. As for the re-releases, the Mitsubishi is the highlight of those. I mean, looks really good in gold, or excuse me, blue. I mean, this was a great casting. It was released last year, and it's continuing to be great here. Nice stock deco on that one. The Chevy C10 continues to have a great moving parts run, getting the 70th anniversary deco. I think it's very appropriate that it gets some anniversary treatment, considering it's one of the longest tenured moving parts decos at this point. And love to see the Seagrave fire engine come back. This was a great casting last year. I think it looks great in chrome, silver, black, and orange here. a very worthy deco for it. So yeah, that's all for now. Let me know what you think and what your favorites are. That's a wrap for 2023. 2024 moving parts mix A has already hit stores. I've only found 5 of the 7 castings in that mix though, so I'm holding off till I find those last 2 to do a video review of those. Anyways, that's all for now. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.